feeling old. Starting January though, working out every day.
That's a good thing, yeah.
As everybody says at the beginning.
As everyone
of January.
says, yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah, I know, dude. Yeah, Nick's gonna start working out with me too. That'll be the start of our day.
Start jogging or yogging.
Nah.
Whatever they call it. It's a soft J.
Jogging.
Yogging.
Yogging.
Yogurt.
Alright. Wait for this to all come up here. Looks like we are live.
We are. I just got the notification on my phone.
So that is good. Just make sure everything's going.
I'm gonna send it out to the thing.
Hold on.
Fast.
Make sure it's working. I've been going back and forth with the YouTube people.
I know.
These issues, and it's so dumb. They told me, well, the other one's not showing up because you recorded it in 2017. I'm like, no, that was last week's stream, dog.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. I need to restart the stream. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, there's no way you could do it.
It's always
here
good
you
to have someone.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, we would have to get you, like, we'd have to spend some time setting you up in order to do that. Alright. Let's try that again.
Oh yeah, now the number's right.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's still going to the same one?
What?
Like you changed the number and then you just started broadcasting live again and now it's...
How is it going to the same one? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, the chat is the same. Weird, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I don't understand. Something is different, and I don't know why. It's so weird. Alright, let me check it for real this time. It's weird because I don't see that on mine. Oh yeah.
What do you mean?
I'm so confused.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's just go.
Something changed when I changed all of this, and I don't understand what's going on.
Let's just roll with it.
Although, it's weird that it made it the same URL. Because the one from last week isn't the same URL. How does that work? I am confused.
Yeah, so often with electronics. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't know what's going on.
You always
Right?
post it in the channel before I know if it's good or not.
Well, I did. It's good. Let's do it, Dave.
I'm still setting up a live stream.
Don't puke, Phil. Better than an Apple unveiling. Yeah, I don't know about that.
It's weird. It's two separate streams on Facebook, though. That's the thing.
We got 23 people watching right now.
Hey.
Wow.
Raphael, did you get the link to the where it's going?
Yeah, if YouTube opened at the same time, hopefully that's okay. I'm not
Wait.
sure how you do it. Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm here. Yeah.
You'll see the
Yeah.
chat. You'll see the chat in Skype though once we get going. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, and that's actually more real time than any of it.
That's good.
I should post this one to the Octane group on Facebook. I'll do the
Yeah.
Facebook feed though, not the YouTube feed. I'm gonna share a group. Octane render.
Yeah. Make some music. Make some beat.
Right?
Well, we got 27 people watching. I guess we'll go to the screen so people can see us. Right.
Do it. Hi, everyone.
Hey. Are you live? Wow. Okay.
Alright, I think we're just about ready. Going to turn off the music. And grants fall in. All the grants are coming. All the grants. Oh, GSG just went live too. Great. Thanks.
That's hilarious.
Well then.
Hmm.
You have to put two screens, two streams on
Let's
your
just-
desktop, and then
Let's just
Right.
rebroadcast them on our stream.
Hey guys, today we're watching the Grayscale Gorilla live.
and we're
sale
doing a
today.
React episode. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll sit there and make faces
Right?
like those people.
Oh my god.
Oh, see, that's such a load. They've already got already got more viewers than us.
Well,
Oh no, we're
of
tied,
course-
right?
of
Oh, now
course
they
do.
they got us beat.
Of
Yeah.
course they got more. What are you talking about? Everybody wants to get in on that sale.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Are they? Let's see. Yeah, live right now. Let's see what's going on.
That's funny.
Do for letting.
I should be like,
letting
hey y'all,
me
come
get
over to
word out
the
about
Brograph
today.
channel.
Please, I am.
That's funny.
I'm gonna go find the
I should
chat.
be like, how dare you?
And, oh my goodness, here it is. Here's the chat.
Ah,
All right.
All
my
together.
yes. Here we go. Hello.
Yeah, check it out.
Oh,
We'll just rebroadcast him for.
All right.
Nick, what's up?
Hey Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Corner
All right.
of art.
Okay,
That's
gotta go.
funny.
Gotta do
Or
our
it could be
show.
Corner of art.
We'll talk
No
about
judgment.
that in a minute too when we get started because it's their sale today. So we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about that. Okay, everything
Do
is
clap?
going here.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we got to start rolling. So everybody, start rolling your recording.
Yeah, it's rolling
device.
for 4 minutes already. So.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, we're gonna do our sync, which is our clap. So I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, and then we'll all clap on 4. Okay. There we go.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. French
Awesome.
Monkey, what's up, French Monkey? See, French Monkey chose us over GSG.
Nice.
Meanwhile, we see him in the GSG chat as well. Ah, traitor!
Can you run both chats at the same time? You just
Oh, heck yeah,
you
I
just
am.
Mute and go back and forth. See? Yeah, there you go. You should put a little box in the bottom corner. We're monitoring the situation live at GSG.
Could you do that?
Technically, yes.
Okay.
Funny.
Oh man. All right. So, actually, I am gonna pull it up so when we talk about it, I can maybe go to them if they're still live. That'll be
Right.
funny.
Yes, I think it's just Nick.
That's
I
fun to
know.
say. Paul.
All right. There we go. I'll have that standing by live. All right.
Let's do it, Dave.
Let's do it. We're all recording.
All right.
Ready to go. Yeah, see, Kent's got both open.
Yeah, I
But
got
he's
both of them, too.
listening to this one. Kent is listening to
nice.
this one. That's the point, right? All right. We're rolling. Okay, so we'll do the intro. I'll say I'm Dave. Matt will say I'm Matt, and then he's going to introduce
I'll
you.
introduce you.
And then you say hi, and as soon as you say hello, I'll go into the big Brograph as a supplement to a site, brograph.com, and I'll go into that, my whole thing. And then we'll
start.
And then we'll get going.
Man, I need to put some WD-40 on this chair. All right, let's go.
Yeah, you do. All right, here we go. What up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph Brocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt, and joining us today is the man himself, the elusive Silver Wing, Mr. Raphael Rao.
Thank you. Very nice.
And Brograph is a supplement to our site, brograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other MoGraph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects, plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. And you can email us, brograph@brograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show, and send in your suggestions on what we should talk about. Comments on the show, questions about technical stuff. Doesn't matter if it's noob or experienced. It doesn't matter. Everybody's welcome. We all like to talk about different levels of everything in motion graphics. So this week, first of all, wanted to talk about what's going on right now. It's the Grayscale Gorilla one-day sale, 40%
So
off.
those who are listening live, those who are listening tomorrow when we actually edit this, sorry, you missed it.
You missed it.
But
It's too late.
Those who are listening live right now,
Yep.
Grayscale Gorilla.
Check this out. Look at that. There's Nick. He's live right now. We're both live at the same time.
Yep.
It's not
Crazy.
copyright infringement, is it? Because we're promoting him.
Yeah, no, we're promoting.
So it's okay, right? Yeah. All
I would
right.
think so.
If we really wanted to screw around, we could like talk on the stream and be like, "Hey, wave at us on the live stream," but I think that'll take too long. All right, so I'm gonna close that. So we got a lot to talk about today. I think it's gonna be an Octane-filled day,
Yeah.
which should be fun. Hopefully, some of the people from the Facebook Octane group are joining us right now as well. And let's talk about the week a little bit before we get into some of the meat of the show, so to speak. So make sure you get that 40% off on Grayscale today. One thing I wanted to talk about, how familiar are you with Fields and the new stuff in R20? Have y'all been playing with it much?
A little bit.
Yeah, also a little bit. I haven't actually implemented into any jobs I did, but I'm using R20 now on a regular basis. But yeah, Fields a little bit.
So here's something that I ran into this week, and I need to investigate it a little further and see what's going on. But when you do stuff with Fields and you do like localized Fields, how do I explain this over audio? So you're doing Fields and you can add the delay to the list, right? And if you bring the delay all the way up to 100%, anything that you do will kind of stay that way. So I was displacing some polygons with this the other day to make it look like something was kind of dragging in the snow, which is great.
Okay.
It works really well. And if you put the delay on, then the drag, you know, the impression that it makes stays on. The only problem is, as it was going through, there are these little like stops and dashes going through it, and that's because there's no subframe calculations in the fields. So from frame to frame, if the thing moved too far, it wouldn't calculate the subframe. So if anybody has any experience with this, let me know, because I'm working on this snow stuff right now, and it's causing some of the imprints in the snow to kind of like stutter and kind of look choppy instead of having one smooth line through the snow. So it's something I'm kind of trying to figure out. But there's that. There's some other things that I was learning this week. Fusion Studio. We started using Fusion Studio a little bit. I
installed it.
We installed
I got my dongle in my dongle drawer.
Yeah,
with
well,
all my
I have
dongles.
huge hubs, so I put it in there already. But the whole thing about their name, it's the Google foo, because I was doing a couple things, I was looking it up online to do some stuff, and if you put Fusion Studio into Google, you get the stupid consumer GoPro app that comes with there. It's called Fusion Studio. So that kind of sucks. It's like this.
Just do Fusion 9. I mean, yeah, it's kind of confusing because there's that, and then also Fusion 360, which are
Yeah.
totally different programs.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, that's not confusing at all. Confusion.
Dang.
Duh.
That's
Episode
terrible.
title.
No.
And also in that same realm, I was working on a scarf this week. We've been working on a piece for somebody, and we got Raid Zero helping us as well. And so it's kind of a fun workflow. We're learning about some things. There's a lot that goes into making a scarf. You'd think it would be really easy with cloth, but I was trying a bunch of different things, and here's what I've learned. Number one, I don't feel that I'm liking XP cloth that much yet.
I think you're doing it wrong.
I have spent...
That's just me.
Yeah, well, you
I like
can pick it
XP
up
cloth
and you
a
can
lot.
look, but there is not the level of control over your cloth that you have with Cinema 4D. Just not.
Yeah.
I've tried many things, and I have tried every setting. I know everything about every setting because I researched and I spent days trying to get something that was easy to use, and it was not working well. It was not. And
you're using it wrong.
No, because there's very little settings. That's the thing. There aren't the amount of settings that you have with the Cinema 4D
Sometimes it
cloth.
has also to do with the scene size. Sometimes I'm like when stuff is smaller, it tends to not go so well, and if it's bigger, I'm not sure. Not really expert in X particles, but sometimes it's just like solvers don't like scale differences. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I mean, stuff was just doing things that it shouldn't do, and I went back to the cloth in Cinema 4D, and it worked in 10 minutes. You know what I mean? It's
right.
like, oh, see, this is exactly what I wanted to do before, but this setting over here was not behaving the way that I thought it would, and I did the same exact settings. But there's more levels of control. There's more options over forces and other dynamics that you just don't have. So I flipped back over, but then I got the scarf on this character exactly how I wanted it for the most part. It wasn't, there was some things that I didn't like, but I was like, this will work. And then I went and saw the Grinch movie that just came out.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with my daughter, and of course, she's enjoying the movie, and I'm sitting there analyzing every single pice of it, which,
Like you do.
my God, the sets that they built in 3D for this movie are just fantastic. And all the snow stuff, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like the amount of hair and cloth and particles and snow and all of this stuff, I can't even wrap my head around how many people and how much time that had to take.
Yeah.
To do such a massive project like that. But then, of course, they're wearing scarves.
Right.
So I'm starting to
That's the old
analyze them.
animation trick, though. Like, then you only have to animate the head. You don't have to animate the body. That's like the Yogi Bear tie thing.
What do you What do you mean? What animation?
Well, that
trick?
was like, okay, so like the
Well,
original
it's
animation.
2D animation.
Yeah, 2D animation. Like the reason they would give all these characters like a scarf or a tie, like Yogi Bear, it revolutionized animation because they didn't have to like animate everything. They had a separation point, so they just had to animate his head.
Yeah, Yogi Bear. Hey, boo boo.
There you go.
Either the scarf is for that, or it's like a White Christmas thing. I don't know, to cover
Maybe.
up the anorexia. You know, that's what they did, right?
What?
The character, what's her name? The blonde in White Christmas, right? The really skinny one
I have no idea.
that has.
I've never
legs.
seen White Christmas.
I'm sorry, we're gonna have to end the show. You've never
I'm
seen
pretty
White
sure-
Christmas?
You know what? And you say this to me every year. No, I have not seen White
Yes, I didn't.
Christmas.
I thought you weren't a fan, but I didn't know you hadn't seen it, dude.
No, I haven't seen it.
Dude, it's classic Christmas. You have to watch it this year.
Okay.
It's in the theaters this year. Like I'm gonna go see it, and so I watch it over and over.
Maybe I
and so
should watch it too.
I know all this stuff. And look, Liam hasn't seen. What in the world is going on? You people not seeing White Christmas. So here's the thing about White Christmas, and I've totally gone off on a tangent now, but the woman in it is extremely skinny, And come to
Mm-hmm.
find out, you know, she was anorexic back then. So you see her legs in this movie when she's dancing. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
My mom calls her pony legs, and that's kind of stuck, and the family calls her
Okay.
pony legs. But
Okay.
come to find out, last year doing a little research, she is wearing either a scarf or a turtleneck in every single scene because she was so anorexic they wanted to cover up her gross neck.
Okay.
Okay.
It's so
All right.
like you got to find out, you got to look into all the stuff about this movie. Like there's so much.
See, little do people know that's actually why they gave Yogi Bear a scarf as
Yeah,
well,
He was
to
anorexic.
cover up his anorexia problem.
Yeah,
Probably,
actually, no,
yeah.
he's bulimic. He would eat all the picnic baskets.
Oh, right.
And then it was just his thing. He'd go puke it up. He'd go get another picnic basket.
Right.
Yeah.
It was an addiction.
Yeah, Liam says I wear a scarf to cover up my extra neck. By the way,
That's
Liam
funny.
and I, on occasion, people when they happen to see us at a meetup or something,
Here it comes,
might
y'all.
confuse us
Hmm.
a little bit. And
Yeah.
in order to keep up that tradition, after Liam shaved his head, I shaved my head as well.
Yeah.
So
What?
yeah, yeah.
Show
I
the
shaved
stream,
my head.
Dave.
Okay,
Show the
hold
stream.
on. I
Show
gotta
the
take off
stream.
my headphones.
Everyone wants to see it. Here's where you break the internet. Oh, it's shiny.
There you go. Shiny.
It looks so good, dude. You look really good.
Can I? What do you think? Do I pull it off? A lot of people have said, yeah, you
Yeah.
pull it off. I didn't think I
Yeah,
could
you
pull it
totally
off.
do. And I told you from the very beginning you could.
Well,
So.
here I am. But now my head's cold, so I'm gonna put my beanie back on. Hold on.
It's funny. Gotta put on that scarf
You know,
to cover
I
up
can't
the
hear you 'cause my
anorexia.
headphones aren't on, but I'll tell you, it's really hard to put on a beanie with your head shaved.
Yeah, I know. It's like Velcro. It's like Velcro.
Whew. There we go.
Interesting.
This thing's getting stretched. Anyway, it's not
Cool.
as even as it was before. Anyway, let's go on to the next thing. So, scarf. So let me tell you what happened with the scarf, okay? So I was looking at it and I was admiring how well it was flapping in the breeze, and then I realized the mistake that I made. Now, I know when you do cloth, sometimes it's better to keep the poly count low
Yes.
on those, because if you have too many polys, it just gets really complicated.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets garbled and weird.
Mhm.
But rather than having like a grid of polygons on the
Mm-hmm.
scarf, I did only one segment. So you imagine like a rectangle with just, lines.
See,
going all
that's
the way down
interesting
and all the
to
way
me
across.
that you went about that, because normally I've heard you want it to be as square as possible, when dealing with cloth.
You would, but that would mean you would have to have segments. So here, I'll show you with this envelope for the people watching live. If you have a flat piece of geometry, but you have a ton, not even a ton, but it's divided into, let's say, 100 squares. When the dynamics happen, you're going to get like these crinkly things going on in all directions. But if you take it and you just do segments, just one after the other, all the way down, you get this nice even floppiness that happens.
Yeah.
With
So it won't bend in on itself. It'll only
Right.
bend. It'll only
won't-
just
it will
bend.
only bend in the one direction, which I
Yeah.
kind of had that epiphany during the thing, and I rushed back here after I watched it, and I changed the scarf
Ugh,
again.
I gotta go.
like a third time.
Leave your kid at the.
So I rushed back, and for a third time, I redesigned the scarf, but I did it so quick, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this saved me so much time. And of course, after seeing that, I added a bunch of hair to the scarf to make it look
course.
nice and furry.
That's
and
always
it's great.
nice, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's nice to have a reference and look at how other people do things like that, because I picked up a lot of other ideas for what we're doing in this project moving forward this week, so that I could apply them. So
Yeah.
and it's and something I learned about the hair generation, which is interesting, is that if you have a piece of cloth that has dynamics on it and you add hair to it, the hair does not follow.
Oh, really?
Because you have your order of operations or whatever, and you set it to generator. If you set it to initial instead, then the hair actually follows. So what you and that's fine, but then the dynamics weren't working correctly after that. It's like, this works,
Weird.
but this doesn't. 6 of one, half a dozen the other. So the solution is
See,
you
Go ahead.
cache it. You cache it with generators. right?
Mhm.
And then after it's cached, you switch it over to initial, but since it's cached, the dynamics don't matter anymore. Very interesting. You know, I never
Yeah.
messed with that. I didn't know that was a thing. So
See, I anytime I don't mess with hair at all anymore,
Mhm.
mostly, especially ones that are just going to be still. Like I'll create literally just like just a single hair, and then I'll use Octane scatter on the entire thing, you know, just to create these random tiny little hairs.
And it's something I learned this week. You know, I was overthinking.
Mhm.
You know, I was
Yeah.
just completely overthinking it, and it was just so easy in the end. You know, Damon, your brother from another mother, you know, he was working on something this week too, and it was one of those things. He did the same thing I did, where he's trying to do this thing, and then if you get like an outsider looking in, sometimes it's nice because I was like, well, dude, you could do this with like multiple lights and not have to figure out how to do this thing with just like one light. And he was like, oh, there you go. Like simply. So like sometimes it's just, you got to step back from a project and be like, wait a minute, let me think about this for a minute.
Yeah. Go see a movie, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
We also,
It's always a good thing.
we had a good learning experience this week with one of our clients. Came back
Oh, jeez.
came back and you know, when you start a project, you work on what's the project dimensions and how is this going to go and that. And there was something that was color coded originally on the canvas that we were working on, and
So-
we had a conversation about it.
Here's what happened. And did you see the video I sent you?
Yeah.
So this is one of the best things about our industry is like if you can't actually be at the place where the live event is happening, you just Google it on YouTube
You'll
or
see
you
it the
YouTube
next
search
day.
it
Yeah.
and you'll see it the next day. Yeah. So we were able to see some of the videos. So basically they had two IMAG screens, gigantic IMAG screens on the left and right of the stage. And when we were going through the initial like setup of everything, they told us that these two little color coded ones were the IMAG screens.
Right.
When in fact they were not.
IMAG,
they were just
image
colored
magnification.
differently
Yeah.
because they were angled a little bit differently. So we then they told us, like, as we're sending these videos all throughout the past few weeks, and they're like, okay, looks great, blah blah blah, change this. At no point did they ever say, oh wait, these are the wrong dimensions, until 2 days before it was due.
When we've got
Okay.
all these 4K renders completely done and
70 minutes of footage.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
70 minutes. So
70 minutes that eventually basically turned into 6K footage almost
Yeah.
versus 4K. And so because it was slightly higher, we couldn't render out H.264. We had
Right.
to render out H.265, you know,
Which
and
they
then
Oh,
they
okay.
had to
codec
convert it on
for.
site.
they wanted us to use a different codec, which would have made the project like 200 gig to download
Yeah.
and upload. But basically, it was a good
That's
learning
crazy.
experience. I mean, honestly, I don't know what we could have done differently because we had a huge conversation about like these areas would be blank, you know, and but maybe for them, good learning experience. But it was like, what do you do? We had to kind of improvise, and we had to kind of patch some things together and kind of hack some things together and just make certain areas look a little different. There's really,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. Jason, what's the best software to cook pizza? That was my question in the Maxon Facebook group this week, because there's been so many like just odd posts. Like people come into the Cinema 4D Facebook group and they're like, "Hey guys, what's the best 3D software?" And it's like,
Yeah. What's the best rendering engine?
Yeah, you don't find any bias in there if you ask for the best software.
it's like, what? Oh, okay. So there's that. Also, I wanted to talk about our episode specials. There's a few things we're talking about, the outtakes that we want to get clips from. Josh Foster sent in a description of some of these incidents. We still have to
and
find some of this.
I remember them. Like
Yeah.
I was reading his email and I was laughing so hard because I remember the episodes. I remember it was like probably 10 minutes of me laughing straight. It was an early episode too. It was
Really?
probably a couple years ago.
I remember this, but I don't remember the subject matter.
I don't know. No, it was I was trying to tell you a joke. I was trying to tell you the remember the it was like the Pope joke or something. Like
I don't remember.
something about no, a bunch of monks are selling flowers by the Playboy Mansion joke.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And I couldn't get it out. I just could not say the joke because I was laughing too hard.
Oh, and it
Anyway,
wasn't. And in the end,
yeah.
I was like, it's not that funny.
No, it's not
Yeah.
that funny.
Okay, so Josh said, hey guys, just caught up through your latest episode, and I heard Dave soliciting podcast highlights. There's 2 moments that stuck out in particular. I believe the first one happened summer of 2017. Dave said a really corny joke, and Matt lost it. He couldn't stop weeping with laughter for a solid 10 minutes. And he said, I can't remember exactly which episode it was, but it was in the same episode that Dave talked about converting a bunch of VHS footage. And speaking of losing it, my second highlight from episode 89, when Dave gave an in-depth breakdown of his bowel movements following his return from Mexico. I remember it vividly because I had just started chowing down at McDonald's right before Dave started giving us all his juicy details. So yeah. So remember, over the next year, we'll be working on some of those highlights and moments.
Real classy here at Brograph.
Oh yeah,
real classy,
real nice. So. A couple other things we're going to do pretty soon. We're going to work on a primer episode. I feel like sometimes when you come to the episode for the first time, you're like, well, what is this? What does Ravcock mean? I don't understand. What are these inside jokes?
We're at 162 episodes, and there's a lot of inside jokes. So
right, and if you're new to the program and you're just like, you might go back and see, okay, like, oh, the Beeple episode or something like that. But you're not going to go back to like episode 2 and listen to us talk about Octane 3.1 or something, you know? We
were talking about that for a couple of years.
Yeah. So there's kind of this whole thing where, you know, if you're new and if you're telling somebody about the show, there should be a primer episode that they can check out and understand what the show is before they really like go into it. So we're going to try and
recap or something.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we're going to do, we were talking about for a Christmas episode, doing an episode that is not about motion graphics. It's going to be like Brograph around the fire. You know, I'll change the green screen.
We'll have like a fire sound effect in the background the whole time.
Yeah, we'll find some pod safe music that's Christmas related.
Right.
You know.
Oh, we've got some that we bought for our Christmas card last year. Yeah. We'll just use that. Yeah.
John Paul in the chat says previously
on Brograph.
That would be the name of the primer episode.
Yeah.
Previously on Brograph. But the Christmas episode, though, what I wanted to ask is, we're going to be talking about anything not motion graphics related. We're going to talk about parenting, dieting, you know, whatever's on people's minds. So if you have some stuff that you want to put in the Slack channel and ask about, it's just going to be fireside chat. Maybe I'll get a glass of scotch or something. Interesting. You know, I'll do like what's his name? Ron. What's the guy's name from?
Ron Burgundy?
No, not Ron Burgundy. From
yeah, Ron from
why is my
from
the only Ron I can think of is Ron Weasley.
From Parks and Rec, Ron.
Yeah.
It's Ron, right? Why is Ron Swanson?
Ron Swanson. Yeah.
So he's got that 45-minute video of him online of just drinking scotch by the fire and staring at the camera. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I take that. I have it on a 10-hour loop and I play it at parties. Just on an iPad. He's just sitting there at the bar on an iPad, just drinking scotch and staring you down and judging you.
He did another one recently. It was like an art installation where he painted himself solid gold and like just sat there and just slowly sipped whiskey the whole time.
Wow.
You know, it was weird.
Well, Matt, you're gonna have to
just
get a green
have to
screen.
sell drinking whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt, you'll have to get a green screen so we can put the fire behind both of us and just.
Right. Well, you could do like a 3-screen and put a fire in between us.
Oh, there you go.
You know, so that we're like, this way. Yeah.
So we'll be doing that not next week, but I guess the week after, which would technically be after Christmas because we're not going to broadcast on Christmas, but it'll be our after Christmas special. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Because next week EJ is going to be on. So.
Yay!
Yeah.
I love EJ.
Let's see. Oh, another follow-up here. Halo is not being released this year, like I thought. Apparently, it was a huge fake thing on the internet because their original release date was set for that day, and it got picked up by all of these different people, including Google, You know, Google will answer your question without going to a site. It's just in the search results. It actually says that date. So Halo is not coming out yet. Billy Chitkin, by the way, has given a good recommendation. I don't know how he saw this early, but he said this new Spider-Man movie is amazing.
Yeah.
So
I'm
going to want to check that out.
It looks gorgeous. Looks absolutely gorgeous.
And then lastly, I wanted to talk about follow-up from last week. There's a video we were talking about the Grim Reaper over the Golden Gate, and you got to see this video of this guy. He's like a ghost hunter guy on YouTube. Did you watch? I sent you a link, and it's like we got to figure out if this is real or not. Here's the reasons I don't think it's real, and it's like, dude, it's obviously not real.
Yeah.
Like, did you see on CNN everybody like scrambling because there's a
Freaking out
giant
over,
Grim
like, a
Reaper at
giant
the
Grim-
Golden Gate
yeah.
Bridge? Like, well, why would you think that was real?
No, don't call it Grim Reaper. It's not Grim Reaper. It's a ghost. Remember?
Right, but that's what it says in the name of the video. So, you know. Anyway, that's the wrap up there. So let's go to Ravcock. What's your flavor?
What's your flavor?
And now, Silverwing.
All right.
We're gonna
Silverwing.
learn about you. We want to
Okay,
know a lot about you. We want to start. with-
Just ask me questions. I'm shy.
Where are you located?
I am broadcasting right now live from Ludwigsburg, Germany.
Oh, okay. So you're based out of Germany.
So right, yeah. So it's evening right now. It's 7:30 in the evening.
Okay.
Okay.
Where
And,
did you go to school? Where did you go to school for this, or are you self-taught?
I'm mostly self-taught, so I didn't go to school directly in like motion graphics or 3D kind of way. I did graphic school, so I'm basically a graphic design artist or something like that.
I told you every single time. All the best artists start out as graphic designers. Move over.
Back then when I started, that makes me sound old, but back then when I started, I actually like there weren't a lot of schools out there that taught 3D in a basic way. So yeah, I was looking around, and I was having some interviews at the, I don't know if there must be a thing in America. There's a place in Germany called Arbeitsamt where you go get recommendations for where to look for a job and stuff like that. And they recommended me being an editor, but I wanted to do something more with like computers than just edit videos. I'm stepping on some editors right now, but yeah. So yeah, after that, like I pretty much self-taught myself while I was doing graphic design, because I really had fun doing all this 3D stuff, and then it basically grew from there.
Did you start out in cinema?
Yeah, basically, yeah. The funny thing is that probably I shouldn't tell that, but I got a CD with RIP files on there, so I tried to install 3D Studio Max back then. It was like a 386 computer, very slow computer. So I installed it, and I hadn't a lot of ideas about computers back then. So it asked me if I want to install the GPU version or the one that just run on the CPU, and I thought, oh, that sounds fancy, and I clicked on GPU version, and that made it crash every time I started it, so I didn't use it. And the next in the line was Cinema 4D, so I just tried that one, and that worked quite light out of the box, and that's why I'm using Cinema 4D basically.
I actually started in Max on a pirated copy. Back then it was dongles though, so I don't know if I told this story on the show or not, but some friends of mine they went to a different college, and there was an old box of 3D Max and like 20 dongles that nobody had used, and it was dusty and dirty and gross, and it was just sitting in a closet, and they just took it. And they were like, hey, do you want a dongle and install 3D Max? And I was like, sure. And I installed it, and I already knew 3D from like Infinity and other programs, but like that's how I got into like a more modern programs. Okay. So I think we've all been there in one way, shape, or form. You know,
right?
You got to learn somewhere, I guess. So Sorry.
Yeah.
What was it about 3D versus graphic design that just really drew you in?
That's an interesting question. I guess it was kind of the technical aspect also. So I'm always was very interested in technical things, and yeah, also like photorealistic stuff always got me. So when I was at school, I was always like doing some read ups on artists that could draw in oil very realistically and stuff like that. So I always was fascinated by that. So it was like a more or less logical step to go to 3D because graphic design is meant to be stylized and rather like what to say, like flat, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe back then more than nowadays. Nowadays it's like also like think they have merged more together today than back then. Back then it was like more straight, like graphic design was very flat and like distinguished or simple, and then there was the 3D that was more in a kind of realistic or sketchy way. Not sketchy like sketchy, but like
the hardware was not like it is now too, so it was harder to do certain things. That kind of kept the separation going, Yeah,
a couple of years before I started, there was a Photoshop version where there was no undo. I was lucky to not have that.
Was no undo?
No, and no real layers. So you had to really it was until version 2 or something. It was like that.
Yeah, I remember when the layers.
I can't even imagine working in a software where you can't undo.
Right.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, in the standalone of Octane, there wasn't an undo in the beginning too. So
really, that's funny.
Jeez. So David Ariev, I asked him if he wanted to be on the show, but he's like buried in projects. As are we. He will be on. We already have a date set for him to be on in a few weeks, but so he couldn't make it to the show because I know he's a big fan of yours and he would have some really great questions and things. But I did text him this morning and I said, I asked, do you have any questions? At least maybe you could forward on to me. And the one thing he said was he wanted to ask you is, where do you get your insanely deep knowledge of rendering, and what sources do you use to come to a better theoretical understanding of it all? Because I see some of the stuff you post and these crazy node trees in Octane and like this deep understanding. Watching your video the other day about your still life, all the stuff about the deep understanding of how ray bounces work and just all of this stuff like that is such a background knowledge to have, that you don't necessarily have to have, but it makes you better if you do.
And we're all learning from you and others,
That's great.
Where did you learn? It's like,
well, as I mentioned in the beginning or like before, was always with me that I had a really thirst for technology and knowledge about technology. So it's not like maybe like you can call me artist, but sometimes I'm just also like a technician or something like that. So because I'm trying to really understand what the knobs are doing that I trying to turn. And but to answer your question, where the knowledge is coming from, I guess it's coming from very different sources all over the internet. So unfortunately, there's no single source where like this is the holy knowledge source or something like that.
Well, it's almost on kind of a level of somebody who designs 3D rendering software, because in order to design it, you have to know so much more from an engineering perspective.
Yeah, but I'm not even close to programming and a renderer or something. So the engineers are way ahead of me.
Things
but
like IOR, like index of refraction stuff, and things about metals.
yeah,
And
well, that's my thing.
yeah, yeah.
That's like in every talk I give. That's like at least a small part of it is like about the IOR and because it's essentially the central thing of a material. You have like the IOR determines the probability of light hitting the material, whether it's reflected or refracted or absorbed. And basically that's all that makes up a material in the end. So it's very important part of creating shaders, and therefore it's like the main center that where I go to and teach people and like do stuff. And to be honest, of course, I wasn't that knowledgeable always, so big props to Grant Warwick. I bought his 3D Studio Max V-Ray training when it came out. It was like 5 years ago or something. And he had like a very similar approach than I did at the time, but he had some more knowledge than I did at the time, and he really taught me about those things like the complex IOR and stuff like that. So the only thing I had to figure out is, besides understanding all of that, is like how to bring it into Cinema 4D from his V-Ray knowledge and 3D Studio Max.
What is complex IOR that you were talking about? Like, what exactly is that? I mean, I understand IOR as far as index of refraction and stuff, but what do you mean when you say that? Teach me.
Yeah. Need the Doctor Strange meme. Right. The complex part of the IOR is basically a number that is as the IOR separate number. So it.
Okay.
Like back in the day, IORs only had like one number because the renderer, the people weren't too. Let me think about how I say that best. Like they were okay with like having a bit not as realistic calculations because they wanted to have faster calculations, and like where the extinction coefficient, that's the K value that comes in place, the big role is in metals. And like back then the theory was like you don't need any IOR for metals at all. You just put a very high reflection number in there, or just like put it to 90% or something.
You're not supposed to do that?
You can still do that. That's basically 90% accurate or something. But if you really if you're a goldsmith or like a jewelry designer and want to really go deep into like realistic CG reproduction of the materials, the metals, you should like get material with the N and K values. That's the complex IOR.
So so that makes sense. We had Dan Marino in the chat.
Maybe.
We had Dan Marino in the chat say separate IOR value per color channel. So we've had our contractor Pickle Nick over here, running through some of the
name stuck.
some of the Octane training and stuff like that. And he was actually, it's funny, like he's been watching this and he's like, oh yeah, this and this. And so like, I'll kind of like peek my head over and see what he's working on. And like, I'm like, what is that? What are they talking about there? And so, he was showing me that when they were talking about that in Octane, you can actually go through and set individual, index of refraction per color, I believe.
Yes, that's new in 3.08. It was new, introduced there, like in the metal material. So it's like, and it comes from the original Grant Warwick tutorial actually. So it's like he did that with a bit more complicated way because it wasn't any better options at the time in V-Ray. But right now you can go to the refractiveindex.info site that probably everyone knows by now. and then just get your wavelength of the light in there, and then pick up the N and K index values, and then put it there, and then hopefully get the right colored metal out of there. So yeah, it's I guess like now, like what I do as an artist mostly right nowadays is just go to the Octane setting and set the color not to the crazy values that you have to copy and paste all of that, but I just set it to artistic, because I like to get the color that I want in the material that I would pick. Like if the gold is too greenish for me, I want to give a little bit more red to it or something like that. And with like the scientific values, it's very hard to control that. What I normally do, I have checked that, and it's actually quite accurate. It's kind of like Octane reverse engineers the formula from the colors you give it, and then produces scientific values of that color you give it. So it's quite a good way without losing too much realism, and still being like artistic, valid, with like having a bit more red in your gold and stuff like that.
Well, I was watching your presentation this week. This is on the Maxon YouTube channel where you break down this still life, and I mean it's just great. It's really great to see like the breakdown of this, because still life stuff is kind of like the trend right now.
Somehow.
Thank goodness. You know what? I could look at a million still lives versus like looking at another whatever.
Well, the Pixel Lab is having a contest, by the way. If you get their email, and the examples that they have, of course, are yours, David Brodeur's, and Aaron Coverett's. Of course, they spelled it with a K instead of a C, but it's okay.
Yeah, also very good still lives. Yeah, so.
But they're having like a contest for cash prizes or something, I think, for whoever can do the best still life in their contest. So I was also watching this, and I noticed you were talking about Marvelous Designer, and was it Cornelius Dammert you talked to for the cloth?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we chat quite often on Facebook, and he is also in Germany, of course. So we don't visit very often because he's like, well, it's not a big distance compared to America, but it's like a 3-hour or 4-hour drive to go over to him. So, but every now and then we see each other on conferences and stuff, and he's really nice guy. He was on your show before, right?
Yeah. It was right after he released his newest render.
Yeah.
So I had no license of Marvelous Designer, so I asked him to do the cloth simulation, and he did a Skype call where I instructed him what to do, and I felt like the meme where the art director in the back like, pushes the tablet left and right.
Okay, one tick to the left, one tick to the right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, was it at the same meetup that Jeremy Cox gave his presentation on the camera?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The Supermate one.
Yeah, Supermeet in Germany. Like they used to do what's called user meetings, and it was in 3 different locations. But this year they decided to do a big super meet where it was like only in Frankfurt, but for 2 days.
Wow.
So
now, you were doing you said it was more of a workshop than a presentation. What would be the difference between a presentation and a workshop?
That's a good question. Now, funny thing is that the Maxon guys put me in the workshop. I don't know why or like what the category or how they categorize that.
So it seems like a workshop. You would have people who had computers and they were working
right
too.
Yeah, I get like in the user meetings back then they had real workshops where they set up laptops for everyone, but I guess it's very like very time consuming thing, and sometimes like they have glitches and stuff like that, so the users don't like oh, my laptop isn't working and stuff like that.
That's got to be a pain. You got to set up licensing and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I rather think it's like more of a naming thing, and the only difference I could spot is that the normal talks were only 1 hour and the workshops were 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Okay.
So it's like
Maybe a lot more
the
Q&A at the end.
had to have a longer attention span and stuff like that.
The people that listen to our show for 3 hours.
My talks.
The talk, I think you had a lot of Q&A at the end. I didn't get to watch the last, I think, 10 or 20 minutes of it. It looked like you went into Q&A. Maybe that's some of it too. But Jeremy's presentation, so I haven't gotten to sit down and watch it all the way through
Watch the
yet,
whole thing.
but
It was
I-
so good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it's really recommended, highly
Man.
recommended to watch that.
He did a whole working camera in Cinema 4D, like lenses and like light bounces. This is ridiculous.
He didn't actually build a I mean, I guess technically the renderer would be what the film would be capturing, right? Yeah,
Right.
so that makes sense. Right. Yeah. But I was saying he didn't actually build film but yeah, in a way he did.
But down to the point where like the depth of field that was in the render was not from the renderer. It was from the way he built the lens. That's insane.
Which is insane. That's so insane.
So
I really liked that presentation. I wasn't sitting in the presentation at the time because I talked to Jules and Ahmed outside from of course, the glorious Octane guys.
Yeah.
So I had to take the opportunity to talk to them. But yeah, fortunately, I could watch it afterwards, and I really enjoyed that.
Man, we need to hit him up and see if he'll come talk about it on the show. That is just amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Maybe after the first of the year.
Yeah. If you haven't watched it, we'll have it in the show notes because it's definitely. What's so interesting is that he didn't do this for a project. You know, it's not like a client said, "Man, I'd really like to see what would happen if we could do this," and he had to figure it out. He did this entirely as.
He was drawn into it.
Yeah, he was drawn into it. Yeah. And what's neat is like, I don't think so, you know, clients will sometimes come to you and give you work and stuff like that. And so you create the work and then you do a behind the scenes of how you created this work and stuff like that. And it'll get you more jobs and stuff like that and so on and so on. It'll build. But this was not done as a way of like saying, hey, bring me more work. It seems like, you know, it's like this is a passion project that is to its core super nerdy. You know, and like I'm not doing this as like
you're doing it to
create
prove that you can
beautiful art or something like that. I am doing this to prove that it is possible.
Right.
You know,
I really like the small learning experiences he had, like that he could render real lens flares with his lenses he did, for example.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's really crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where people with a mind like that, it's more, and this is how I feel when I'm doing something like Espresso. It's more about the puzzle. It's more about the challenge. You know, if I'm doing something, how can I do this in Espresso without any code? You know, something like that. You know.
Yeah,
it's absolutely incredible. So some other things in Ravcock, we'll kind of tie into our interview here. You were talking about Ahmed a second ago, and I was talking to him on the Facebook group the other day about the ORBX loader.
Oh, okay.
And we are using it currently in this project we're working on just to see how it goes. And
that's nice.
Pretty cool. Like we are working with RAID 0 as well, and so it's one of those things where we kind of have a master scene and we're bringing in some other scenes, and we're doing it by bringing in Orbix. And when we do that, if somebody changes something in the Orbix on Dropbox, we can change it in Cinema 4. It just changes in Cinema 4D when you reload. The only thing I asked him, I guess he put it in because he wanted to get it in there. He's still refining it, but I said it needs a reload button to reload.
Okay,
the Orbix. But it's great because Matt designed this office scene and I'm working on the blocking for the entire project. So I'm able to bring in Orbix into that scene, and if something changes later, we move stuff around, Matt can save the Orbix and I can reload it into my blocking scene.
Yeah, that's great.
It's been really great.
It's like Xrefs but for Octane.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
And it works better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree.
Whoops. Let's see, Jeremy. Let's see. Oh, I know what I want to talk about is your speed tests for Octane that you posted.
All right.
Yeah. So I haven't noticed any speed difference between 3.08 and 4 in particular. But just tell us a rundown. Give us a summary of what's going on, and for people who don't know.
I haven't used 3.08 in forever, honestly.
Right.
So I may have noticed it at first, but then, haven't gone back.
It feels faster to me, but
it seems like, what's of course happening is like the load times are a lot faster in 4.0 because of the AI loader, or what's it called. Then I noticed that especially if you rendering with like lower numbers of cards, the render is slower. It's not by a lot. I've heard some artists or some other users say that they had scenes where it's like significant, but for me it wasn't like very huge numbers. It was like, I think the biggest difference I got for a 8-minute render was like 30 seconds. For like 8:30 to 9 minutes or something like that between.
Is that for one frame or is that for multiple?
For one
frames?
frame, yeah.
Okay.
And
That's a pretty significant difference.
Like what I noticed is with the first card, like it only slows down somehow the first card, or that's what I think right now. I have to still further investigate that. And if you add multiple cards, if you add more cards, the further cards, they are not slowed down somehow. So the more cards you add, the more like equal it will get in the end.
Have you heard anything back from them regarding this, or concerns or anything?
Like Jules asked me to do some more in-depth tests, and I yesterday did some and sent it to the Facebook thread where I posted it initially. And let's see. I guess he's interested to solve it, of course, because what like the discrepancy is that if you run the benchmark it's a lot faster than the 3.08, and like 3.08 gave me, let's not lie, what was it, 580 points on my 3 GTX Ti, 1080 Ti's, and the 4040 like 4 version gave me like 620 or something Octane bench points. So it's like faster in the bench, but when I used it on scenes, I noticed that there's like a 10-second, 20-second drop in render speed in every scene. So I was a bit skeptical and thought, what's going on here?
Interesting.
And the scene you're using was the keyboard you built, right?
Yeah, it was the keyboard scene. I did also tests with other scenes, but not that much in depth. Yeah.
So pretty.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So are you working a lot now with these mechanical keyboards?
No, actually, like I have mechanical keyboards and I have used them for a longer period of time, but they're just like normal keyboards that you can buy. And I'm really like, there's a whole community around like mechanical keyboards and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I was getting really interested in that, and so much so that I wanted to design my own keyboard that I would want to use, and so I did. And like I really like the keycaps of the old like Commodore and stuff like that. So I tried to recreate those. Yeah, there's a lot of knowledge out there with different keycaps and what manufacturers do, what keycaps and stuff like that. So,
so do you have this particular setup now, or?
No, it's like just I was just building it so it theoretically could be rebuilt if you had the resources and money and like time. But right now I'm just using my old 5 or 6 year old Corsair mechanical keyboard.
Yeah. I got
it works
I got
fine
the Razer. I think Matt, you got the
All
same
right.
one. We
Yeah, I've
make
got
a
the
lot
same
of
one.
noise.
Yep.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I shared office with another freelancer here, Thomas, and he like always hears when I'm chatting on the internet. Clacky, clacky, clacky.
But one thing we didn't get to talk about last week, that's probably a good topic right now, is the Titan RTX.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
there
That
were
was
influencers
announced
leaking
last
it.
week. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a few pictures that went out in the wild, which was really funny because like, I don't know, you see normally whenever you see a leak, you know, it's from like a I don't know, it's from someone at a factory, you know, being like, oh, I took this, you know, or something like that. But you don't normally see people who are like companies who are under NDA accidentally like posting a picture with it like right out there in the open, you know. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, these are probably kind of orchestrated leaks because there was 3 all on the same day of the Titan.
It's like, oh, check out my new
That's
1080
suspicious.
Ti. And then over on the side, there's this thing that says like Titan RTX on it. And you're like, wait a minute. Why are you talking about that?
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a nice little teaser. They released
marketing.
Yeah,
but $2,500 is not bad.
Not bad at all. Especially, what is it, 24 gigs of VRAM?
Yeah, and you can like use NVLink, so you have like double that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So am I correct in saying so? NVLink like accumulates your RAM so that it's one. So if you're working in Octane and let's say you had a 1080 with what is that, 12 gig?
Something like
11.
11.
Yeah.
Technically 11 wasn't that the lawsuit?
Yeah, like strange number.
Yeah. But you NVLink that to your new Titan, then you will have a cumulative VRAM number. Is that right?
Always, like it only works with RTX cards, so you couldn't use any older cards. It's like sort of works like the bridge you had before, but and I think I'm not sure about the Titan RTX, but on the RTX 2080 or in 2080 Ti's, it's like only possible with 2 cards at the time. So
interesting.
So if you want to have like 22 gigs with 2 RTX 2080 Ti's, you would have to bundle 4 cards, so 2 and 2. Otherwise, you would end up with 22 on 2 cards and then 11 on 1. So it's down to 11 again.
Now, let me ask you this. If either of you guys know this or someone in the chat, like, what does it do as far as speed? Do you take now, are you just sharing the same amount of RAM, but the speed would be the same as if you were using the 2 cards just straight up?
As far as I'm informed, it's like a small speed decrease, but it's not as much by a long shot as if you're doing out of core.
Okay.
Right.
So
see, that's
if
what I'm
say you've got a project that's only using up like 3 gig of VRAM, it would be better for you to not use the NVLink than it would be to use. Okay, that makes sense.
But I guess you can turn it off in the system, like in the NVIDIA driver settings or something.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, so you don't have to physically detach the piece of hardware.
I don't think so. Okay. I don't have RTX cards here, but
yeah.
Well, see, my 2080, my thought when I saw the Titan RTX is I was like, oh, I'd love to get a Titan RTX now instead because I got room for it. It would be super fast. I'd have that VRAM, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute. If I'm working with that in my 2080, I'm still going to be limited to whatever the 2080's VRAM is. But this is great. This is the solution. So, and I guess there's different versions too, because on some of the cards the pins are flipped the other way, so you have to get the right. Like on some of them, the way the board is, like it's
so is it dependent on the manufacturer, or
I don't know if it's the manufacturer or the card type, but I think that there are different types of links that you can get. Like some of them do the little flip reverse so you can turn it the right way. But everything I see seems to be super like, and maybe I'm wrong, but to be like a hard piece of plastic with the things on it. Do they make a version that's just like a ribbon cable, or is that not a thing? Because what happens if you have like different spacing?
I think it's like also marketing, because like I think that thing costs $100 or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
All it is just some copper, right?
Right.
I guess.
You can just like weld. It's like
we'll
just cables on there.
Yeah, let's
we'll
just
make our own. We'll
make
each
individual
yeah,
pin to each
solder.
other.
That's what I wanted to say.
But it looks cool. I mean, I guess there's some other ones that are coming out too that are some other links. You think there's going to be like these third-party, like, you think that's a thing, or is there licensing?
I don't know. Maybe you can buy stuff from what's it called, Alibaba or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. You should go to Alibaba and like contract someone to make an off-brand version.
Right. Funny.
So I'm interested in seeing that. Like, I'm like, I think Titan RTX is the way to go for me right now.
Yeah.
In my particular setup. So, Matt, let's get on that. Let's get ourselves.
Yeah, we need a couple of big projects to where we can just
spend $5,000 on that, and
a piece.
Yeah, somehow get to sponsor you or something.
Right?
There we go.
Yeah.
I'll talk to him.
I think we could do that. I think
we could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, just talk to Deadmau5 or something.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, there's oh, go ahead, Matt.
No, go ahead.
There was that AI rendered video. This is NVIDIA. The AI rendered video of the city streets. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah. So, the NVIDIA stuff. Yeah.
We'll put a link to that in the show notes. So basically, there's this project they did where they trained AI. Here's what city streets look like, and it's able to say, okay, this is a car and this is a building, and then like create and retexture just city scenes just out of AI. It's not a video. It's just it's pretty amazing. And they even were able to do kind of like what was the like deep fakes almost, where there was a guy that was working in NVIDIA offices. He's very kind of laid back. He's not very shy, like not a person who would dance Gangnam style or whatever.
Oh, right.
They put his face on a like made a video of him doing that dance, but he never did the dance.
Okay, I thought you were talking about like where they I saw some video where they would take a video of someone actually doing a dance, and then they would have another video of someone like pretending to do the dance, and then they would link the two together, and it would basically re-rig the person to where they were doing the dance perfectly. It was pretty insane. Yeah.
It was something very similar. But, he's one of these programmer guys at the NVIDIA office, very shy, very reserved, and would never do anything like that,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think like projects like that, it will take some time to get like really realistic output of those where you don't recognize it's like AI driven. But it's a good thing when you need like make mock-ups and stuff like that to really share an idea real quick to someone, and then get like artists do the proper version, I guess. So yeah, I see that. I see potential there to like that AI can be used to get ideas across more quickly.
Hey, are you going to MDC in January in London by any chance?
I haven't any plans right now, but I don't know. Maybe.
I was just curious because we have been going back and forth on that.
Oh, okay.
Whether or not.
No, Dave keeps on saying, "Are we gonna go? Are we gonna go?"
It was your idea in the first place.
Yeah, it was my idea in the first place, but
got me all excited about going to London, and now you're like,
right. But now I'm looking at how much software we've bought over since Black Friday.
Right.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Well,
now you're talking about the Titans.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Titan or go to London.
Exactly. I almost would rather go for the Titan. So almost.
Yeah.
So decided yet.
Oh, we're gonna go to. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I just want to talk about your workflow. You know, because now you're a big proponent for Octane, right? I'm assuming. Okay, so
Well, I'm using it the most of the time because it fits in my workflow quite well. But I also used Redshift in the past, of course, and other renderers. So it depends on the project. The thing I always trying to do is keep my horizon. Like I really like to see all point of views for all render engines, and so I keep, like, in my spare time I keep testing renderers, and then therefore I know when a project comes along if some renderers are more
apt for
likely,
that one.
more apt for that one, or if it's going to be Octane again.
That's funny. Yeah.
So basically for you, because this is what I tend to find as an artist who is doing projects that are either just my own, just me working on a project, or maybe like 2 or 3 people, that Octane is fine for that. But then when you get into these bigger things, with
definitely
going to Redshift or whatever for workflow, what is the reason? What is the workflow reason?
Yeah, what is it that will make you say, okay, I'm not going to use I know I'm not going to use Octane for this one. I need to move over to like Redshift, or I don't know if you're using
the fact that a client
V-Ray.
is using Redshift or something, like
Right.
what would be the reason?
Yeah, of course, that's sometimes the reason, but it's really, I think of it, if you have like scenes where you have a product visualization and the product is there and it has to be really intricate, and like it matters how the single materials look like and how they interact with light, then Octane is great. But if you have more complicated scenes where you have a lot of geometry, and maybe haven't worked on that, but if you have like VFX in there and like buildings crumbling or something like that, where it's like a lot is going on, like you don't need that detail in the lighting. You have like so many details to look at with the detail in the geometry. You don't need like lighting detail. And so Redshift is a lot stronger there because you also get a lot more geometry in there, and you have like really nice fast scattering in there. So you have volumetrics and stuff like that. Even though it will be fast in Octane 2018, or was it 2019? I get confused sometimes.
2018.1 or something.
2018.1. Yeah, I think they're going to a year system after this. So
yeah, like basically the reason why Redshift is faster with scattering mediums is because it only uses a very low number of scattering bounces in there, and you cannot turn down the scattering bounces in Octane for now. So you are stuck with the bounces you set in the diffuse bounces. So if you have 8 bounces, you're going to calculate 8 bounces for your volume. While it looks more like lifelike, but on the other hand, there's a lot of calculations going on in the background. And with the as I said, I'm not sure if it's coming in 2018 or 2019 version, but they are going to separate that out of the bounces, so you can only calculate the volumes with 1 or 2 bounces and get a lot more speed out of that.
It's a really good idea.
Tell me about there's a part in the video on your presentation that I kind of caught, but I didn't get a chance to rewind it and go listen to it again and really hear in detail what you were talking about. Because it's kind of a given if you've been in Octane for a while that you'd never use like full white, you never use full black for anything. Everything has a little bit of something. It's nothing is zero float really.
Right.
So you were talking about some way that it affects render time or something. What was that again?
So basically, when you have a very high energy bouncing around the scene, so the idea is you have a light source that's really bright, and then you have a white room with a white color. And that basically means that in the room, the light isn't absorbed. The energy isn't like getting lower. Every bounce where the energy hits the wall, the same amount of energy is getting bounced off. It's not like 20% of the energy is getting absorbed in that bounce or something like that. And
because it's pure white.
Because it's pure white,
It doesn't absorb.
You control your materials with the, like, it only affects renderers if you have GI on, or if you have like nowadays it's called just light bounces, but back then it was called GI. So if you have that and you're having a white material, then the light's not going to be absorbed. And most renderers have a thing where they just cancel light rays, or just cancel the calculation on stuff that gets lower than a certain threshold. It's like if it's like only 1.1% or 0.1% or something, then there isn't any contribution to the scene anymore. So the calculation can be just canceled at that point for that ray. And if you have like a lot of energy bouncing around, there's not a lot of cancellation for rays happening, because all of the rays still have a lot of energy left, and therefore you get longer render times.
And Octane doesn't have that cancellation, or it does? Because it's like
I got longer render time, so like it has a lot of physically based doesn't mean that like it can be optimized. So it's like different. There's also a thing that's going on that's called like Russian roulette probability, where every ray bounce, a certain amount of rays are just cancelled by randomness or random. So
on purpose, like by the renderer?
On purpose, yeah, but it's in a way that the energy is still conserved. It's like not that there's a bias getting that the render is biased by this.
Just to give it a feeling of randomness and like.
No, it's like because like if you look at let me think about, if you look at scene, you can tell the direct lighting, of course. The direct lighting is the difference between shadow and sun, for example. Then you can also tell that there might be a red wall on the other side of the room because there's still spill light. But you can't, like, the effect of the like the more the light is bouncing, the less the effect on the final image is. And therefore, like, you don't need, like, if you start with 1,000 rays, you don't need to trace through 1,000 rays to the 16th bounce. Sorry. So it's like would be a waste of time, because the 16th bounce isn't as like perceivable as the first bounce anymore. So you can see this direct light, you can see the light bleeding from the first bounce to the other wall, but you can't see the 16th bounce of a green wall somewhere. It's like just the scene is just a little bit more bright than otherwise, but you cannot tell that it comes from a green wall, and therefore like the rays are getting cancelled by each bounce, because therefore you can save render time. You can if you cancel rays, you have more power for the direct rays again, so you can spend more render time on the direct rays where the thing you see is more important. So that's basically that.
Yeah.
And so it's like that when you have like the scenes. I think there's also like, maybe it's like intensity based Russian roulette probability or something that's going on, but you have to ask Jules. I'm not sure about that.
Well, I think we're going to open it up for some questions in the chat room, and we'll let those come in slowly here. I'm going to move over to some links real quick in the meantime.
I know Phil had a question earlier about if you have any upcoming tutorials or something that you're going to be doing.
Yeah, I made a sort of poll on Twitter the last week or the week before that, what people wanted to hear. I really want to do tutorials, but I'm not sure when I'm going to have time for that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of lazy sometimes also.
Yeah, you should have seen how much Grand Theft Auto I played when I was supposed to be working this weekend. All right, well, let's go to some links real quick, and we'll see if any other questions come through. The first thing I wanted to talk about was there's a great Behance gallery. This is a Skoda 120. It's a 1979 car. I don't think it was in the U.S.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But this guy posted, I don't even remember where I saw it. Maybe, I think it was the Maxon group, the Maxon Cinema 4D Facebook group. This was done in Corona render. And it is so good. He went through, I guess he did photogrammetry to get the interior and the textures of the car and then rebuild it all. And he did this amazing looking car, this old school car, and I was just like floored by it. I was like, it's so detailed and so good. I put a link to that in the show notes. And let's see, Goodnight Claire. So Blender 2.0, this is development test. Their interactive viewport. I mean, this is like Unreal Engine or something at this point.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Dave, I'm not sure if you've got it in the links or anything, but Blender Guru also released it's a 3-part series on the Blender 2.8 beta, which is very interesting. If you haven't watched it, you should. It's pretty cool. Andrew Price, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
it kind of clears up some of the things that, I don't know, just the initial stuff,
Well, this Goodnight Claire breakdown, it shows like this alien thing, and it's like all in the viewport.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I don't...
Yeah, it's really crazy, and like what sets it apart from other real-time engines is that you could use like things like ambient occlusion, and there seems to also be like a 3-planar mapping inside of that. It's really stuff that you only would use in real render engines, like real ray tracers.
I feel like they're going that direction with Cinema 4D too. Like, eventually it's going to be like Unreal Engine within your viewport of cinema, I mean, right now they have some great live viewport stuff, but man,
the stuff they introduced in R19 as far as the live viewer and stuff was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
but did you notice, like I don't know if you have opened it, but I downloaded Blender and played around with the.
I have,
Matt did, yeah.
It has like this selection highlighting that looks just like Cinema 4D.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
I think it's like I like the new layout a lot. I mean, I don't do much and I haven't done much in Blender in the past, but like it feels easier for sure. The most annoying thing about it though is that I can't set my 1, 2, 3 plus my click like cinema,
Yeah.
Like it lets you customize your keyboard shortcuts, but you can do like letters and a right click, but you can't do or a left click, but you can't do 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I don't know why. You can do the number pad, but you can't do the top 3 numbers, and it's like that doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know. Yeah, because if I could just navigate easier, like in cinema, I'd be happier.
Yeah, back in the like 2.79, there was also a Maya preset that had the alt navigation from Cinema 4D.
Yeah,
and I always used that one in Blender, but like this seems to be gone also from the menu or from the presets.
Weird. I wonder if it's just a beta thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
because there's an option in there for pressing any number. It just won't let me do the 1, 2, and 3 keys.
Ah, okay.
I don't know.
Maybe they're mapped to some other functions. I don't know.
No, because I searched for that as well. I thought that might be the case, but no, it's not. It's not search. It's not mapped to anything.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, 2 other quick links I wanted to go to. There's a great video that somebody made called, it's the agency playset. Like little character agency playset. So it's like these little action figures. It's your own agency. It's actually a pretty long piece, like a commercial for these action figures. So that's in the show
By
notes as well.
VC Toys, is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I
this
had a
whole
look at it before.
little art director action figures, and the client comes in, you know, I think in like a tank to ruin the whole project or something. You know,
That's
stuff
funny.
like that. It's a pretty good piece. And also, there's a
Yeah,
great video.
based on real life events.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I love this video that Tom Cruise actually made
All right.
talking about the new Mission Impossible that's coming out, and how it's going to be on Blu-ray. And if you watch it on Blu-ray, it's very important that you change your motion. What is it? Your motion settings. on your
Motion
TV.
smoothing.
Motion
Yeah.
smoothing. There's a whole video against motion smoothing and how you can fight motion smoothing.
What's so funny is that like so many I don't know a single person who likes it. So why is it sometimes set as the default with TVs?
It's always set as
Like-
the default. That's what doesn't make sense. They think
That's
that
my
you're gonna.
standard answer again, marketing.
Yeah, and they bring up the fact that everybody calls it something different, and some
Yeah.
TVs it is so hard to turn off. I don't
Yeah.
think it's that people like it. I think that they're most of the time people either don't know, like, you know, Matt, you and our parents don't notice.
Yes.
Which I don't know how you don't notice it, but then they just accept it like that's what the TV's supposed to look like. It's like,
Right.
no, you spent all this money on this 4K TV. You need to like turn that off unless you're watching football. You
Right.
know?
What's even worse-
For sports, it might work okay, but
Yeah.
For sports
films,
and
yeah.
video games, I found it works really well. Like
Mhm.
playing video games with the smoothing and the refresh rate really high works really well.
Yeah, because you don't
but-
want to have like a delay on video games. You know, that's
Yeah.
the first thing I noticed when I got my 4K TV is I was trying to play GTA on it, and like when I would hit the brake button, the brake lights on the car took a split second to turn on. I'm like, something's not right here. Something's
Right.
and I would, you know, I mean, and you need that time because if you're gonna accidentally run over a hooker, then, you know, you have to be on the ball, because if you want to quote
Right.
unquote accidentally run over a hooker, you got to veer to the left really fast, or
Wow.
you'll miss her. Right.
Anyway,
just like real life.
Really problematic. Yeah.
no, the worst is I went over to my mother-in-law's house the other day, and this always bugs me so bad. When she has HD channels, but she'll watch the SD channels
Oh.
that are also letterboxed. So it's letterboxed inside a pillar box. So it's like half the size of what the actual screen. And I say, all you got to do is hit the C button. It's this red C button on the remote, and it automatically goes to the HD channel. I'm just like, please hit the C button. Please.
Worse than vertical video.
Well, I don't
Right?
see a difference. It's like, no, there's a huge difference. I don't know
Yeah.
how you don't. How do you not see that?
I don't
You
know.
know, it's just as bad as vertical video syndrome.
Now, you know what?
I know you're a proponent of vertical
I'm a
video.
proponent in certain situations. In certain situations, because the iPhone camera sucks. All right? It sucks for horizontal video because it doesn't get wide enough. All right? If you take a picture, it uses like a lot. It's got a really wide lens. And if I could actually use that lens in a horizontal video, it would be great. But no, it crops it a little bit. So you're zoomed in a little bit. So I have to use vertical video in order to like shoot my kid doing something funny
Right.
from head to toe.
Right.
You know, otherwise I have to back up 50 feet in order to see him.
Yeah. Well, we're still waiting on questions to come in. I think we should go do some Beeple's People.
Oh boy.
Yeah, here
Okay.
we go.
So you have to explain that to me.
Okay. So this is the worst part of the show, and a
Wrong.
lot of people hate it.
Wrong.
No, that's not wrong.
Wrong.
So we take a few
People hate it,
pieces.
so that equals 4 billion people.
Yes, but 50% of those people are on the show. Anyway, it started out as a joke, and then we're not now. Now it's permanent, unfortunately. We take a
Okay.
couple of pieces of Beeple's work throughout the week, and then we kind of break them down and like say what we thought we did, and then all the other stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, Digital Castaway says, "Are you planning on doing another Brograph jam?" Possibly.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't.
Yeah. I mean, we mentioned it on the show not too long ago. Yeah, possibly. We've been talking about it, but we haven't really. We don't have anything set in stone yet. But
yeah.
All right. So take out your Beeple viewer of choice, and you are going to go to November 28th, Year of Our Lord 2018, and this is a special one. This one is called Please Share.
You're gonna bring it up on. There you go.
And
I like
is
that
great. This is great.
I think he's done something like this before, hasn't he? Or similar. It was just like a poster that said, something similar.
So
I can't quite remember what it said, but it was something like along those lines. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said I spelled your name wrong in the thing. I copied and pasted it from somewhere. How did that happen? That's weird.
Did you okay?
I didn't think I did.
Doesn't matter, even if it's like.
All right, so
no problem at all.
Do not ever. This is day. He even put at the bottom day 4,229. Do not ever stop making art because someone else doesn't like it. F them. Do your work.
Yeah.
Pretty good. So
it's true.
Is different. This is a statement this time around. So, a little bit different.
It's inspirational.
The other was like just do it, just pull through.
yeah. Nike, just
don't make any excuses. Yeah, that was the other one.
November 30th is called Retrospective. This one, so this puts it. This is like the last one in his Adobe series that he was doing with Adobe stock. And what was it called? Retrospective. It looks like somebody's, having to relieve themselves.
We're watering the plants.
Somebody relieving themselves in the alien bush. That didn't sound right. So I love the plants. The plants are great. So what is the Adobe stock in this? I wonder though. That's my only question.
I don't know. It could be some of the. I really don't know.
I don't know if it was textures or do they
have
maybe models too? I don't know.
Could have been textures, could have been models. I don't know.
Yeah. So that it's pretty good, I guess. And then the last one that I wanted to bring up, I don't know the story on that one, but the last one I want to bring up is December 2nd. It's called The Factory. Oh, and we got to talk about his Yellow 5 thing too. The Factory, though, we'll go to The Factory real quick. And
very nice people. This is a very typical Beeple.
To me, this is like the factory where they develop the orbs. Like they're constructed inside of this thing. Like they have to be incubated a certain way.
Perhaps.
And so this is where the orbs come from. Now, let's talk about this Yellow 5. I don't even know what to think about this. I really don't. Like, you'll have to go watch it to like see it and hear it. To me, like the voice is kind of like this this sped up voice or like pitch corrected voice, and I'm pretty sure that it's him. So you're gonna have to check it out. It's freaking nuts, and I'm not gonna play it on the show. You just have to go check it out yourself. But it says Yellow number 5 part 2. I guess I missed part 1.
Maybe.
I don't know. We had some people on the what was that on Slack, a couple different things. Somebody actually got a Reddit Secret Santa that was a fan of Beeple.
Oh right, yeah.
Who was that?
Don't remember.
Was it Guy Lit or was it? I'll have to go look and see now. Let's see. Beeple's people. No, it was TMD. So said my Reddit Secret Santa is into cats, pyramid space, and Beeple. So he's doing some custom art here. I'll show this on the stream as well. So so that's lucky right there. You know, it's like, oh, all right, I'll make you a Beeple thing. So that's cool. And then maybe this was Guy Lit. I don't know. maybe I'm just completely wrong about that, but no, it wasn't. Why do I keep saying that? All right, Mr. Elsewhere's Lab and Slack posted this video. He's like going through the mountains, whistling the people's theme song.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's do this. Where's my dingus? There it is. So, I don't think we have any other questions. Oh wait, there's a question. What advice would you give to someone trying to start out in Brograph tutorial streaming / tutorials? Are you talking about creating?
Yeah.
Creating
are you talking about
Brograph
creating, or are you
tutorials?
talking about like going through and doing tutorials? That's a
Yeah,
big
that-
difference.
Also might be more directed towards you guys.
Nah.
I don't know.
Oh, we all do
Streaming. I'm
tutorials.
not doing streaming.
Well, I think it falls in the same category. A lot of streamers
Right.
actually stream tutorials. You know.
Mhm.
Well, like, yeah, but my advice would be to get a good microphone, get some proper recording software so you don't sound like, I don't know, like someone in a tunnel.
Like yeah, exactly.
And also like your videos aren't choppy or something. And then of course,
okay.
like,
Here's
Yeah.
jumping off of this. What are some of your go-to tutorials?
actually, like I'm
If you
jumping
could
around. Like,
recommend
there's not.
some of the best ones that you think
Ah,
people
that's
should
interesting.
watch.
Well, that's a good one. Like the ones I mentioned before, they're just too long ago. I don't think that people would watch them anymore. Like for me, I'm really like jumping around on the net and then just finding something that I just watch. For example, like Andrew Pierce's stuff. I really like his style of doing tutorials. He gets also really deep within like his topics. For example, like he has some tutorials about lighting, about like camera arrangement, and like general like you would call it more basic stuff, but it's like also really important. Like if you know what all the technical stuff is made for and what it's doing, it's nothing worth if you don't know how to really light it, how to frame a shot, how to like use perspective and stuff like that. So I really like his tutorials about that. He has like 3 or 4 about that, and he also has really interesting tutorials about materials, because he started Polygon and he needed to do that in order to sell his textures. But even though he wanted to sell his textures, he did a really good job explaining what the different channels on those like PBR textures are for. So I really like his tutorials, I guess. So always excited if something's new coming out. As like I always like the video you talked about before with the 2.8, I wanted to click on it like 3 or 4 times today, and every time something comes up and I can't. Okay, let's just schedule it for later.
Digital Castaway says, I've been trying to stream making concert visuals live. How would you go about getting an audience? The thing about the audience, I mean, it's tough. It's really tough when you're trying to start out. Like, I mean, even our audience still isn't that big. It's biggest on the podcast downloads more than anything. You know, it's hard to get people to watch live.
We're at 31 viewers live right now.
Right. I think the most we had was 40 live. And one thing about that too, like if I go on late at night and I'm just screwing around working on something in Octane, not that many people really show up. Not a lot of people want to just sit there while you're being quiet working on something. You know, maybe you play a little chill hop and just say hi to some people, and just like people could ask a question if they're around. But, but you know, we only do that because we already have an audience. And
plus,
you know,
Digital Castaway is also asking from Twitch. I think Twitch is much more of a live streaming, place than YouTube, which is where we mostly go. Even though I think we're on Twitch right now.
He streams when he's just screwing around in the studio or whatever, and just turns it on, and people show up because he already has the audience. And the thing about like wanting to build an audience is like there's no secret to like just magically having an audience. You've got to you've got to do the work. You've got to put in the time. You got to show up, and you have to be patient because, like, the way that our audience built was a long tail. I mean, the very first live stream we ever did, just kind of screwing around, like one person showed up, and that was it. You know, it wasn't recorded.
And you know what? I never told you that was actually Amy.
No, it was that penguin dude.
Oh yeah, Penguin Cave 360.
Penguin Cave 360.
I remember our first fan.
Yeah.
Hey.
Our first live fan. Our first fan was Luke.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, it took a really long time, and we tried a bunch of different things, and we did the show, and we did all this stuff. Like, it takes.
And you're not gonna get rich doing it either.
No.
You know,
you've got to build an audience first of all, and then like if you have a plugin or something, yeah, that's great. And then you can like be like, here's the plugin I've been working on. And if you have people that understand how much time and sweat and tears that you put into something, you know, they'll buy it. You know, because like they know it's a good product because they hear you talk about it. You know, they know
as long as it's a good product.
You know, they're supporting you because like they know who you are, and you know, it's like a recommendation. Like if a friend says, "Hey, I made this thing and I'm selling it," well, yeah, you're gonna be like, "Yeah, totally, I'm gonna buy one." You know, and when people show up, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with doing 3D and doing work. You know, you're not going to be rich, and you're not going to get famous and whatever right off the bat necessarily. You know, maybe ever,
you know,
but
you just keep grinding away, and then more people will recognize your work. You know, more people will appreciate your work. You'll get more notoriety. You'll get more jobs, and then eventually you'll come on the Brograph show. As Raphael Rao, Silverwing VFX.
The thing about streaming is, like, if only a couple people show up, that's fine. Maybe next time a few more show up, and you're gonna get frustrated, and you're gonna get like super, like.
I don't think I've ever been frustrated by numbers. You know, I don't do the show because. Well, I like seeing 500 people show up. Maybe not you
specifically, but people are like, well, I've been streaming like this for like 4 weeks, and I only have 5 people showing up. Well, it's only 4 weeks. Like, try waiting for 5 years. It takes a lot of patience to even get a little audience. You know?
Yeah, and I think it's really also consistency that you just keep on doing it. Not just I did 5 streams, it's not working.
Right. You got to show up. It's got to be a regular schedule so people know that it's. I mean, we try not to miss a show. Yeah. If we can help it, you know. And I think, you know, the old podcast I did way back in the day kind of fell off because of that. We weren't consistent anymore.
Near the end of the year, this always happens. We always skip a couple of weeks, and then we come back and we feel like we've lost a bunch of listeners specifically because that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why we're gonna do something like a Christmas episode. Maybe we'll try and do it like if we have a day.
We could do it before Christmas,
like that Friday. If our project has to be done by then. So maybe that Friday, maybe the 22nd. What day is that?
Yeah, I don't know. 21st, I think.
Friday before Christmas. Maybe we'll try and do a Christmas episode then.
Also, if you're in Dallas, I'm throwing this out there because I'm trying on the 27th. Dave, I've been trying to push Dave to do this. We're gonna go do the Void, so in Plano. So we may be getting a few people together to go do the Void in Plano, which will be fun if you're in the Dallas area.
Yeah, hit us up, Raphael.
All 6 of you.
Yeah, Raphael, I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go into Brograph recommends. I know you've actually prepared for this, which is great.
All right.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
It's a new podcast primer sheet that I send out. Another question real quick. To switch gears, what is your favorite trend in MoGraph right now and your least favorite trend in MoGraph right now? It's a good question.
Yeah. Well, good question. Maybe I don't have an answer for that.
Well, I mean, I'm liking the still life trend. It feels like it's bringing back this Renaissance feel. But
I'll tell you my least favorite.
Really, people
Instagram.
nailing it. Well,
Yeah.
there have been still lifes on Instagram too.
Yeah, Instagram would be my least favorite trend, but you know.
Yeah, but like I really like that people get like do really nice work on the still lifes right now. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of true. Uh, there are a lot of them out there that are a lot better than mine. So it's really cool
I
to
don't
see
know
that
about
trend.
that.
Ooh.
I don't know about that.
Well,
I
it's a personal opinion of everyone. So yeah.
All right.
All right, well, let's go to the Brograph recommends. So tell us what your favorite movie is right now.
Yeah, I have a couple of those, but I guess my favorite movie is Lord of the Rings still.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really was like, actually, funny thing, I didn't read the books before I watched the first movie, and I sort of like stumbled into it, and I was going to the midnight premiere in on the cinema, and I was really blown away by all of that. So yeah, it's almost a retro thing right now to have like just the experience was so great. And of course the films are themselves great. And yeah, but other than that, I really love the Matrix and also the Studio Ghibli works, or Studio Ghibli. I never know how you pronounce
I
that.
Did you see the video of Andy Serkis
Oh yeah, I've
as
seen
Theresa
that.
May doing
It's hilarious.
so good.
Yeah, it was over Facebook, over my timeline all day. So yeah.
What about music
Right.
when you're working? What do you listen to?
It really strongly depends on my mood. I'm like most people assume I'm a metal guy or something like that because of the
The
hair.
long hair. Yeah.
Yeah. But I also like listening to classical music. But most of all, I would say listening to film scores to like Hans Zimmer and like Cherry Goldsmith and stuff like that. Yeah.
And what about TV show?
Yeah, I have to go for Westworld, but only season 1.
Really? You didn't like season 2?
No, I didn't like that.
No?
Huh.
Not as much. I think the first season, like, it was done so well. Even if the season 2 was made very well for a TV show, it was like compared to the season 1, it was falling short. Yeah. So I really like the genius that did get into the show. Like, you can rewatch it. I already rewatched it like 3 times or 3.5 times.
Wow.
Because like you can watch it again and see those little details in the beginning that tell everything if you know already what's happening in the end.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I found like the first time I was just kind of confused, and then I watched through it a second time with my wife because I wanted her to see it, and like I felt like I understood so much more, you know.
Yeah, and I kind of like those shows and those films that are like they have multiple layers. You can get your satisfaction with only watching it once if you don't mind, like if you don't care too deeply about like the characters and stuff like that, but you can get out like at least the same amount of interest and like be very interested in the show when you watch it the second time, because there's like those details, as I said, that you will pick up and then say, oh, that's why. Okay, now I understand it even more thorough. I think a lot of shows nowadays trying to do that, and some are more successful than others. But I really like that on Westworld because it's like so well thought out.
Yeah.
What about podcasts? What do you listen to?
Right. Yeah. So I'm not regularly listening to podcasts.
That's okay.
But I have listened to Alan McKay more often than not. It's like I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with him. He's like doing also CGI 3D and talking to other people that do CGI in 3D. And
Which podcast is that again?
Alan McKay.
Okay.
Alan McKay podcast. Yeah.
I'll have to put that on my list.
And then there's the FX Guide podcast. I can also recommend. I think they are getting less frequent lately, but Yeah, they're doing every now and then, so you have to check on the site if there's something new, and like mostly VFX and movie centered. So like talking about, like, I really love Mike Seymour, and I don't know if you know him, is like the one of the co-owners of FX Guide, and he's from Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of interesting and sometimes really funny to listen to. Yeah, and yeah, that's
I don't know
my
if it was him
recommendation.
or one of the other guys from there was on the Pro Video podcast, and I listened to that one. It was very good. It was very good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's also crazy knowledgeable. He is like from color grading and color science to like minute details and rendering. Like it's easy how much he knows. I don't know how he does that.
Yeah.
So what about plugins? What's your favorite plugin?
Right. Yeah. So I guess when it comes to 3D, it must be Octane.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, other than that, I really like Turbulence FD, even if I don't do a lot with it. And then obviously X Particles. When it comes to 2D or compositing, I'm with like Neat Video. I have written it down. That's why I'm looking down all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because I really like that it's temporal, so you don't have like the splotches with like right now with the AI denoiser, and then strap code, because sometimes I just composite particles in there. Just get the camera from Cinema 4D with the what's it called, the After Effects Cineware, yeah.
Okay.
With the Cineware, I just extract the camera from my scene and just put particles in there, and then they just have the same movement as the camera.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, trap code, like particular and stuff like that. It's really nice plugins.
I love Shine.
Shine.
Yeah, classic.
Shine. Shiny. No, I was running into issue the other day, and I'll just to completely change subjects, because this was something annoying that happened this past week. So it's this project, the one where they said, oh, we need this completely changed, sizes and stuff. So I'm rendering on 2 different computers, but I only had one license of particular. Little did I know, I come to find out I actually had 3 licenses of the whole Trapcode suite. Just over the years. Well, over the years, it's like, this client needs the thing. Okay, well, I'll charge extra for the Trapcode suite and I'll buy it. But then I bought it under a different email address, and I'm like, all right. So
that's funny. So
I needed an additional copy of Shine, and so I'm rendering on one computer, and I'm it was during the time when they were doing the 40% off. So I'm like, okay, cool. So it's 40% off. I'm just going to buy another copy of it, So I bought another copy of it. It ended up being like $60, which isn't too bad. It's one of my favorite plugins. So I put the new license number in my After Effects, and it still wouldn't work. Like, I had to completely uninstall the whole Trapcode suite, reinstall it under a completely different username, and use that new serial, because I found out that I had a whole nother, copy of
serial
Trapcode. Yeah. Anyway,
super serial.
I was really mad, because it took me about an hour and a half to almost 2 hours to figure out what the issue was.
When you're in a tight deadline, that's not a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like 1:30, 2 a.m. In the morning. So of course I'm horribly tired. Anyway, I wish there was an easier way to deal with the licensing. Red Giant, I'm looking at you.
So how about headphones?
I love your products.
You're wearing some pretty good looking headphones there. Those look pretty serious.
Thank
you. What are they?
Those are the Sony noise cancelling headphones. They're just one type of Sony noise cancelling headphones. So they're just like, I have the Mark II ones, the older generation. They came out this year with the Mark IIIs. And yeah, that Bluetooth headphones are really like that. If like sometimes it gets a bit hectic in the office, so I put them on and don't hear anything anymore. It's quite nice.
Now, are you a contractor? Are you like, are you actually working for a company? I'm sorry.
No, I'm freelance. So
Okay.
basically,
what I
I have
thought, yeah.
the office here where like I share the office space with my colleague, and
All right.
we are not a company. We're just two freelancers.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I go to Munich or to Berlin or something to work there. But mostly I do my work, or I try to do my work from here because I have my render power here and my
Right.
Yeah.
system and my setup.
Right.
And like maybe it has something to do with age, but if you know your environment and
yeah.
have your system set up in a certain way,
Yeah.
it's really nice to like have that and not sit on a workstation where everything is different.
Yeah, that was there's a series on Amazon Prime called Mograph.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
It's like 12 episodes, but they're only like 3 or 4 minutes long a piece. But each episode's about something at an agency, and the first
Oh,
episode,
okay.
it's like the whole day. The freelancer comes in, he takes the whole day to get like comfortable, get set up. So can I remap the hotkeys? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he's like,
Do you have a Wacom
"Do you
tablet?
have a Wacom tablet?" And he gives him one. He's like, "You got a smaller Wacom tablet?" He's like, "Wait. That's good, but do you have one that's like right in between the two sizes of these two Wacom tablets?" It's like getting adjusted in those environments is just
Yeah.
like that. It takes all day.
Mhm.
Yeah, true. Normally I bring my mouse and my keyboard with me, so I don't have to adjust to that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next one, you might already have an answer to this, but I wanted to add going forward from this point. The question is favorite website or Chrome extension. I'd like to also put an app, your favorite app, as a possibility in that
That's a
too,
good
instead of
idea. Yeah.
website. You know, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a website from my side. I don't use Chrome. I use Firefox, so I don't know any about Chrome extensions.
Okay.
But yeah, there's the site that's called scratchapixel.com.
Scratch. What is it?
Stretch.
Scratch, like you're scratching your neck or
Okay.
something, and then a pixel in one word
Uh-huh.
.com. It's like,
Learn computer graphics from scratch.
yeah, exactly. And there's also
Dude,
an answer
okay.
where a lot of my knowledge coming from. So
All right.
So
Oh,
if you
dude.
so if you go, for example, if you're on the site, and let me figure it out. Where's it? Yeah, if you scroll down and then go Introduction to Ray Tracing,
Wow.
a simple method for creating 3D images. There's like
Dang.
So
like
if,
you can
if
you
anyone
can
out
write
there wants to make as good renders
Right.
as Raphael Rao, here's where you go to. Oh my
Jeez.
gosh.
Oh, this is a great resource.
Yeah.
so it's
college
like
course.
explained how ray tracing is working, and like if you scroll all the way down and then go to next chapter on the bottom of the site, you can see that
Oh,
there's
okay.
like multiple chapters, and like it's really well explained how light works and how camera projection and trajectory of rays and stuff like that happen. It's a bit technical from time to time, of course, but I am not diving into deep into technicality. Also, like all the math surrounding that is also too much for me. So I'm just reading around that, and then just there's enough juicy bits around that for me at least to not get bored.
Jeez, ray tracing algorithm in a nutshell. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you can, like, if you're really interested and want to go down the rabbit hole, you can program your own ray tracer after
Yeah,
that.
writing a basic ray tracer. Oh my gosh, insane! This is insane. Yep.
There you go. That's Jeremy Cox's new thing.
There
He's
you go.
going to
Yeah, write his own Metropolis Light Transport
Jeez.
right.
ray tracer or path tracer.
That's
Man. All right. Well, let's see. Oh, the hardest one. Favorite life hack.
Right. Yeah, I just the only one that came to my mind. So if you have to sneeze, you can put the tongue against the roof of your mouth, and then normally the sneezing feeling stops.
Everybody's
Okay.
putting their tongue on the roof of their mouth. Right now.
yeah.
And Sage said exactly what I was thinking in my head. The Cox render.
Yeah.
The Cox
Oh boy.
render. Yeah. So what was the other thing what was the other one? Think about a cow or something if you're gonna see. I forget what it is. There's an animal.
Oh yeah.
Or an
Mine was
elephant.
always say strawberry. Strawberry.
You say it or you think
Or
it?
watermelon. Watermelon. You just say watermelon a whole bunch of times.
I just
It'll
look
go
at a
away.
bright light and sneeze so I can get it out and be done with it.
Right.
I mean, I don't know why it's so important not to sneeze, but okay.
If you like doing a big speech or something,
Yeah.
True. You don't want to snot
or
all
if you're
over
in
the
a
place.
library or something, yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah,
there's
that could release the
patients.
floodgates on your sinuses, you know,
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
never know.
Or you're in the Matrix and
Right.
traveling down any elevator shafts or something like that, and
It's
you have
true,
to
there you
sneeze,
go.
and the agents are there, and then you're fucked.
Yep.
Sorry,
You're
I
hanging
cursed.
from the ceiling in Mission Impossible.
Right.
Toast. Toast. All right. Well, I think we're gonna get out of here.
Raphael, thank you for being on the
Yeah.
show.
Thank
you
you
so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really nice to be
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
You're welcome back anytime.
That's right.
Anytime.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
It is an open invitation.
Nice. Yeah, I'll take that.
Well, we're on all of the stuff and things. You can rate us on iTunes, leave a review, you can subscribe to us on your podcatcher of choice. Helps get our ratings up. We haven't checked reviews in a long time. We'll do that sometime.
Check
Just
them all the
remember to
time.
send us
We
in
don't
stuff
get
for that
new
Christmas
ones.
show and check out our newsletter. You subscribe to that. We haven't sent anything out in at least a year, but you can still
Yep.
sign up for it.
Very little spam. It's
yeah,
a
that's
great
right.
spam.
That's right. You can say you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with the no Brograph, no Mograph tee, the limited edition Gate and D Simone shirt, which is still there and still limited somehow. The Feel the Bab 2020 shirt, all the profits from that shirt go to Doctors Without Borders. You can also check out the Render Things t-shirt and hoodie. And did I hit all the shirts? Is that all the shirts?
think so.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay. Well, cool. There we go. There's the shirts.
You got all the secret shirts.
Yeah, the secret shirts too. They're on the Slack channel. We'll probably open the Slack channel back up at the beginning of the year for a few days.
Yeah.
And of course, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Brograph.com. And we thank everybody for watching live today, even though Grayscale Gorilla was streaming.
Yep. Are they
Yeah.
still streaming?
Thank you very much for being there.
Well, we'll catch you on the Facebook Octane group. I'm sure
Yeah,
a lot of
definitely.
our
Yeah.
listeners are there, and we're gonna get out of here. Until next week, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Raphael Rau, or Silverwing.
Have a good one.
Later, bros.
All right.
All right.
So we're still live. Gonna hit
Okay.
stop on all the recordings and work on that there. And I'm gonna bring up music and stuff.
Yeah, do some beatboxing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Shamming.
I'm gonna try and update my BIOS. See if that'll fix my
God,
RAM
you're gonna break
issue.
everything.
Maybe.
And that's the day your motherboard fried.